I love random. The live feel. You got to think on your feet, man. You got to be hip. You got to be now. None of this post-edit crap. I have no time for editing anymore. It's going live. It's going out. It's happening right now. The After Party Podcast. Problem is, it's Monday. How do we make Monday work? Okay, how about this? Ladies and gentlemen, you just had your weekend. You had your fun. Well, notice the term after the party. You had your party on the weekend. You saw your cool geeky movie on the weekend. You got to hook up with your girlfriend if she's long distance on the weekend. You hung out with your friends. You played your tabletop RPGs on the weekend, Friday night, Saturday, Sunday. Did you not? The After Party Podcast discusses all those topics and more, and we may even disrupt someone's Friday night by inviting streamers live. But tonight, as a concept test, I have Mr. Matt Witt from our Star Wars podcast and close personal friend of mine. Our new assistant social media director, Alexandria Ball, my daughter, as well as a DMGM in the university field in her own right. Daddy has tried to teach her to use her powers for good, but not evil. And new to the podcasting and cat sitting world. And a newcomer to Mongers field, a man that's auditioning, a man that I found on Twitter and find personally hilarious, a wordsmith. And you can also catch him on the Shambazol 5th edition live stream on Friday nights. Jeff James Jones is in the house.
Hey, how's it going? The After Party Podcast. We will hold your hair back for you as you hurl all of your RP content out to us. It'd be awesome.
Hey, I like that. That is even better and funnier than when I posted is like, we are random, rude, rambunctious, and not safe for work. But holding your hair back, I like that. We hold your hair back.
Well, that means we're nice. It's after the party. The party's over. We're just, still hanging out.
We're in the friend zone hoping that, well, maybe this girl will date me if I'm really nice.
Do not discuss that with my wife.
No, my wife's at work.
You, me, and the internet, buddy.
That's right. Well, another logo he's working on for this podcast is, what's said in the game lobby stays in the game lobby.
Unless you're streaming live.
Unless we're streaming live on the internet. Which apparently, I'm just crazy enough to do. So what we're going to talk about tonight, and what I'm hoping to get a little feedback on today, gentlemen and ladies and listeners and streamers and people that are like, it's Monday night and they're so bored of the internet, is what do you want to see? Now, we have a whole bunch of segments that we talked about putting into the Attack of Opportunity podcast. Now, Attack of Opportunity, as you may well know, is a behind-the-scenes look at Mongers, at us, at our cast, at our crew, and some of the content creators that have generously donated their music and time, ideas, and artwork to our amateur cause, I guess is the best way I could describe us at the moment. And these shows are 10, 20-minute segments, and we're talking about doing something bigger. So a little while back, my partner Connor Besh and our good friend Ryan Messina insisted that I record everything when we get together and everyone's chatting and talking. How was your day? How was the video game? Did you see Black Panther? No, I didn't see Black Panther. Please don't spoil it for me. That kind of thing. We were recording everything. I was looking back through recordings and I found the 50 Shades of Grey story. I found the college sock story, which I've already posted online as a trailer for the After Party podcast, just because I thought it was probably the worst of the worst, the raunchiest of the raunchiest, and the rudest we could probably safely be. So that's setting the bar. That's not, we're going to constantly chin that bar. I'm just saying.
I'm pretty sure when you put the NSFW tag on something, you can pretty much do whatever you want.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we're not going to try and push the envelope, but with those parameters in mind, we're hoping to hear DM stories. We're hoping to hear about people's great weekend. One thing you will not hear in the After Party podcast are politics, religion, and sexual preference for 3 reasons. First, they're dated. If you happen upon this podcast a year from now, we would like it still be relevant, going, oh, look, they're talking about universal geeky stuff. I love that game when I played it, even though they said they were playing Monster Hunter last weekend, that kind of thing. Second is talking about politics, who's in office, what have they done, what have they screwed up, is also what we consider very dated. And we think that'll put our listeners off. And sexual preference right now is a very popular concept. It's a very popular thing for people to tweet about or whatever. And for us, it's like, hey, we don't judge, but, can we just get back to gaming? I don't care. Black or white, dead of night, whatever you do, you do. That's cool. We're freaks too. let's get back to rolling the dice. Let's get back to talking about the geeky stuff that brings us all together, the movies we love.
We were freaks first.
That's right. So
whatever happens behind the bars of the cage you keep in your basement is your own business.
That's exactly. So my first question actually is if we can combine a little bit of the Attack of Opportunity podcast, we will be picking Jones's brain about how he first became a nerve and all that stuff over in that podcast. But for right now, first of all, Jones, did I get your player in a 5th edition game with some buddies out of Toronto?
I'm a DM actually for a group of 8 players that I started playing about 2 years ago with that group. One of my players wanted to stream and or record and or podcast, and I was like, that's not going to happen. Some people are uncomfortable with that. So he decided to start his own game, and he graciously allowed me to play in that game. So he started streaming on Twitch and did some YouTube stuff, and now he's changing it into a podcast. I still get to play in that game every other Tuesday when the months haven't gone by with us every other Tuesday being every other Tuesday. But we're back tomorrow, so I'm actually really excited about that.
Oh,
and
no,
then
no,
I started up another campaign that I'm DMing for another group that was smaller and grew to a table of 7 players. So, yeah.
That's a big table. And this is face-to-face, or are you doing this like via...
Oh, no, this is live on my table in my house.
Nice.
Way to do it.
Yeah.
It's totally, it is a totally different dynamic.
Oh, no, it's a different game. Like, you're not going to get an epic political campaign with a lot of character growth with a table of 8 players. What you're going to get is a bunch of joking around, killing monsters, and stupid scenarios that I come up with.
Nothing wrong with that, as long as everybody's having a good time.
That's what it's all about.
Now, just to warn you guys tonight, to try and keep this podcast from running too long or too badly, I'm running a clock here. So I'm using a Zoom account that actually isn't paid for, and the clock is ticking, and we are down to 8 minutes. And this is to keep the idea of things being segmented. You've muted up, Matt.
Sorry. It's a very good usage of that feature in Zoom for the free account.
Well, I also was thinking of an idea of calling something, 45 minutes to seal their fate, because that's what they usually give you, is a clock of 45 minutes and try and actually play a full game. But that's why we're here, discussing ideas. Now, if you have an idea, something that you would like to see us do, something that you, the listener, would like to see us discuss or know about us, you can email us at rollmongers@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you anytime, day of the week. I have a bad habit of, never putting my phone down. Or one of our Rollmongers team will happily, send you something a little bit more personable than, Rollmongers would like to thank you for your time, blah, blah, blah. And you get that personal attention because we are what we call in the business far from famous. We have nothing better to do than answer your emails, so let them pour in, please. So anyway, I know I don't have Matt for very long. It is a rare treat to see Alex online, but we are here to talk to Jones. So now we know a little bit about you. What would you like to see in After Party podcast? What would you like to see in a talk show about geeks or whatever, whether it's a 5-minute bit or 20-minute bit?
That's a really complicated question because I'm not prepared. I didn't take notes. I didn't know there'd be a test today. But no, I'd like to hear segments about, discussing stories of different campaigns. Maybe do segments by Ravenloft stories or stories you remember from doing in the Dark Sun campaign setting, or awesome stuff about Spelljammer. Like, you could separate it that way, because there's so much content and so many different tabletop role-playing games to discuss, that having just an open general discussion about everything, could be less as likely for people to digest easily than someone who just wants to hear something about Ravensloft.
Yeah, no, I understand. And they know what they're getting up front. Tonight, we're talking about Dark Suns. Did you enjoy living with the Flintstones? Yes or no? Did you love lanky, tall elves that ran across the desert, even when they were pregnant with babies, and they just had to keep running and running and running, like the middle of the Forrest Gump movie? They kind of know, even if it's only a segment, they know what they're in for. They know what they're getting. So I personally love that idea. Now, it's not just between the 4 of us. Like I said, I am asking for, listener views, and I will probably put up some polls. But some of our also heavyweights, Connor Bash, Clinton Shard, Frank Hamilton, and stuff that have a lot of pull as our executive producers. And
the other idea I had that just popped into my head, because this is how my brain works, is the obituary section where we discuss character deaths. and the horrifying impact of those deaths. Like we write an obituary for them and then tell a story about how some asshole dungeon master killed your fucking original content. I might have gotten a little too excited there.
I was forced to read an obituary in character. I wasn't ready for it. I was playing with Jay alongside Alex, and he started carrying Crown, the adventure path for Pathfinder. And we were mucking around, and because I was learning podcasts a couple of years ago, I was recording stuff and saying, guys, do you mind if I record the game? Not to really use. I'm just trying to wrap my head around trying to DM or play while simultaneously running the tech myself. And they're like, sure. So I recorded this on Skype, and I kind of forgot we were recording, and Alex and I got all into character and we're doing all this stuff. And my character was a real jerk off, and they would someone like to come forward and read the obituary for Dr. So-and-so. And I'm like, I'll do it. I had the free sandwiches, so I come up and I'm like, I just spieled out this 20 minutes of terribleness. And it's posted on my other account under Drifter72 on SoundCloud. I don't want to pull the link to Rollmongers because I don't want to tarnish the Rollmonger brand with my own personal junk that I sometimes run off and do. But I told you where you can find it. Sorry, so when you said obituary, I'm like, oh, hell yes.
It's a good idea. I also wouldn't mind hearing something along the lines of really, really cool plays that players have pulled off on their GMs, things that they did that the GM didn't expect, or threw a real loop into the like a game changer for the story that a player pulled out rather than a GM.
Okay, let's hear it. Because like I said, Alex's appearances, having our assistant social director actually showing up in person is really rare. She's like 6 hours away from me and never see her.
So basically I had a party of 4. 2 of them ended up leaving the city, so I was down to 2 players. I have Jay and my friend Kevin. Kevin was playing this Reed with a giant earthbreaker, and Jay was playing a bard. And I thought I had them down in the tunnels underneath some big city, and basically I had a Minotaur at one end of the tunnel, and I'm like, oh, I totally have them this time, like there's no escaping. And I had the Minotaur charge, and out of nowhere the bard is just like, oh, I cast Grace, and my Minotaur died within seconds. This thing had to be twice as strong as them, but it fell because it missed its saving throw, instantly fell, and then got a giant earth hammer breaker to the head.
I could just see that. He slides up right up under them with his axe going,
yeah.
Oh, hi,
completely prone underneath the 2 players. And I was just like, hours of work up to the Minotaur of the maze of the sewers.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty clever, though.
It's genius. They got extra for
it. There's a segment, the DM frustration, hours of prep. Now players and YouTubers and streamers don't like being railed. Oh, yes, it's a story, and we understand, DM, you've done hours of prep, but they don't like feeling they're being catpawed or stuck on the rails. They want to have the freedom to explore the world, your world, or the world, your version of Pathfinder or whatever. But, you're supposed to, as a good DM, let them change things. Even if you spent hours reading the story and thought the story was really cool and you really want them to lick every wall and find that secret door or whatever, you're not supposed to, if they miss something, they miss something. Or if they come to some crazy idea and spend, hours, banging their head because you decided to make one wall a checkered pattern, and they're convinced that looks like a chessboard and it must be something significant. And you've got Technicolor stuff going on this, what actually is magical, and they really
on a tricycle rides by, they don't see it.
Exactly, all that stuff's happening. And you're going, guys, look over here, and they're like, no, we're gonna one puzzle at a time. DM, what are you, cruel? We must deal with the magical blue chessboard. It means something. And I'm like,
it means nothing.
If you're a DM, you'll be fluid with your story, and you can work around your characters.
Yes.
With my players, I like to do something at the end of the session called "This is the treasure you didn't find." And I show them the stuff that they missed.
That is
just because, sometimes. Okay, so with 8 players,
we're down to 1 minute. 1 minute.
Despite you earn as a dungeon master, the level of negative feelings you generate towards the people that are supposed to be your friends, helping you collaborate, tell the story, the spite builds up. So why I show them the treasure they didn't get at the end of it is because it makes all of that spite go away and doesn't make me TPK them the next time I see them.
So we've got
it's DM venting.
So we've got this is great. We've got DM frustrations. We have epic character death and obituary. We have the treasure you didn't get. I'm going to love that one. And what was the other one we came up with?
The campaign.
Specific DM campaign stories. So that's a great start. And not to mention all the wonderful nuggets about people, just hanging out pre-game, post-game. And our official stance on this is